been hopeless in the system. They've been absolutely hopeless.
You know, he's playing 3-5-2, it isn't working. Good managers change.
Bringing a manager like that in terms of the system that he played, I don't think ever really suited the club of the traditions of Manchester United.
When conversations turn to Europe's tactical geniuses, the usual suspects roll out. Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Carlo Ancelotti, Mikel Arteta. Yet surging beneath that stratosphere is a name accelerating at breakneck speed. Rúben Amorim, the Portuguese visionary who lifted Sporting CP from mediocrity to continental relevance. Amorim's philosophy transcends mere shapes on a whiteboard. It's a symphony of collective cognition, split-second timing, and territorial dominance. His squads operate as a single organism, defending in unison, transitioning as one, striking with lethal coordination.
Amorim's current model, honed across the 2024-25 season, has transcended its 3-4-3 origins into a dynamic 3-2-5 build-up that morphs seamlessly. The objective? Absolute territorial supremacy. Squeeze the pitch, accelerate transitions, exploit the slightest indecision. Verticality reigns. Center backs and the goalkeeper now fire early diagonals to evade the initial press, bypassing midfield congestion. The moment the ball lands in advanced areas, the cavalry arrives. 8 bodies collapsing in synchronized waves, regaining possession in dangerous zones, and unleashing angled counters within heartbeats. The defensive line perches daringly high, the keeper sweeping like a libero. Opponents are coerced into hurried decisions. Even hoofed clearances become liabilities. Chaos on the surface, choreography underneath.
5 games without defeat, the rhythm of belief echoing through Old Trafford once again. For the first time since February 2024, Manchester United have pieced together a run of 5 unbeaten matches. And with it, a shift in the story surrounding Rúben Amorim.
With Bryan Mbeumo, Matheus Cunha, and Benjamin Šeško arriving in the summer, Amorim has forwards who don't just score, they listen.
It's a stark change from last year's trio of Højlund, Garnacho, and Rashford, whose runs rarely matched the rhythm of the system. They were playing jazz in a symphony.
With no major midfield signings, Amorim's been pragmatic, trusting Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro as his double pivot. Why? Because both can launch long diagonals with sniper-like precision, flipping the field before the opponent can react. You lose a bit of mobility compared to young legs like Menu or Ugarte, sure, but you gain control, vision, and discipline. Perhaps the biggest difference, though, is preparation.
For the first time under Amorim, United completed a full preseason camp. No European distractions, no travel fatigue, just drilling over and over until every movement synced like a metronome. That chemistry doesn't come overnight. It takes hours of repetition, each player learning not only their own part, but how the man next to them will move before he even does it.
And now you can finally see it taking shape. Mbeumo tracking back to fill in at right wing-back when Ahmad charges forward, Dalot sliding into left center-back when Shaw bombs upfield. Rotations that used to look random now feel rehearsed. With the right tools, Amorim's United have ditched last season's slow, suffocating build-up and replaced it with speed and directness. The ball moves forward, not sideways. It's not perfect. One mistimed long ball and you're exposed, but the intent is clear.
United now sit among the league's most direct sides. They've launched the 3rd most long passes this season. And while last year they ranked as the 5th slowest attack in the Premier League, they've now climbed to the top 8 in speed of play. The numbers tell a story, but the eyes tell the truth. This is no longer a team trying to survive. It's one trying to believe again.
Sometimes football is all about timing. Against Brighton, it was Luke Shaw of all people who embodied that perfectly, stealing possession from Rudder with a perfectly timed challenge and sparking the move that led to Casemiro's goal. For a player whose career has been a patchwork of injuries, his resilience remains symbolic of United's own revival.
It's not just individual moments, it's structure. No Premier League side has switched play more than United this season. Amorim's men have turned those diagonal switches, particularly to the right, into a weapon, exploiting Ahmad's pace to rip open defenses one flank at a time.
And then there's the new heartbeat of United's attack, Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo. Gone are the sloppy passes and heavy touches that suffocated transitions last year. In their place, sharper control, smarter choices, and an instinct for keeping the ball alive in the final third. Their composure has injected new life into United's counterattacks, and in doing so, they've given Amorim a fluid, unpredictable front line. A small tactical twist has amplified it all. By rotating Benjamin Sesko in and out of the starting 11, Amorim can recalibrate his approach for each opponent. With Sesko, United gain a towering aerial presence, perfect for second balls and direct play. Without him, they become faster, more interchangeable, more fluid. We saw it against Chelsea and Sunderland. Long flick-ons creating chaos, second balls turning into chances. But when the opponent pins the striker down, Amorim isn't afraid to rip up the plan. Just like he did in that famous 2-1 win over City last year. Dropping Sesko and even Lenny Yoro against Liverpool recently, he opted for Cunha as a false 9 and leaned on Maguire's experience to stabilize the backline. And when asked about those bold choices, Amorim said it himself. In difficult moments, you have to trust your gut. Right or wrong, that's what defines a manager. That gut has guided United towards something new. A far more aggressive, vertical approach. It all starts from the back, literally. Goalkeeper Senna Lamens has become the launchpad, hammering 45 long balls against Liverpool and 34 against Brighton, the highest single match total for any Premier League keeper since last season. United now average 23.2 long passes per game from their goalkeeper, a staggering 76% increase from last year. But here's the key. Those long passes aren't meant to find a red shirt directly. They're meant to provoke, to force a duel, to create chaos. Against Liverpool, for instance, Lamens hit only 8 successful long balls, but that didn't matter. The plan was never about precision, it was about reaction. By targeting Buemo on the right, Amorim forced Van Dijk or Kirkez into awkward aerial battles, while Cunha and Bruno Fernandes hunted for the scraps, snapping up second balls and immediately flipping the play wide to Ahmad or Dorgu. It's chaos by design. And it works. That chemistry in attack is still forming, but you can feel it growing. Like two players learning each other's rhythm after a few matches, the understanding is building. Sesko's pace and aerial power make him a perfect focal point. Cunha and Wembo add grit, creativity, and bite. Together, they stretch defenses, freeing the wingbacks to surge forward and supplying a constant stream of chances through the middle. And at the back, the Belgian keeper has stabilized what used to be United's weakest link. Lemens' calmness under pressure has transformed their build-up, while Amorim's bold summer recruitment is finally showing dividends. All of this, every flick, switch, and second ball, feeds into United's new direct identity. You can even see it on their possession touch map. Only 30% of United's touches now occur deep in their own half. The only Premier League side with fewer? Arsenal. Last season, United's biggest problem wasn't defense, it was getting out. They coughed up possession near their own goal nearly 6 times per match. This year, by going long and cutting risk, that number has fallen to just 2.4 turnovers per game in their defensive third. The result? Bruno and Casemiro no longer find themselves chasing shadows or sprinting backward to plug holes. Instead, they're dictating play from higher up, keeping the action in front of them where they can control it. For all the talk about attack, Amorim's greatest progress may have come without the ball. Since reshaping United's defensive structure, the difference is striking. When retreating into their own half, the team morphs into a 5-4-1, the two number 10s tucking back to protect the midfield shield. It's a small adjustment that's patched what had long been United's biggest flaw, the gaping holes through the middle that opponents once exploited with ease. Naturally, there's a trade-off. United's average possession has dipped from 54% last season to just about 50% now, but Amorim doesn't see that as a loss. In fact, it's deliberate. The ball may spend less time at their feet, but crucially, it spends less time near their goal. In this version of United, control isn't about quantity, it's about location. And when they do have the ball, there's another emerging weapon: set pieces. Before facing Nottingham Forest, United ranked 4th in the league for expected goals from dead ball situations, though they'd only turned 3 of those chances into actual goals. Even so, that improvement has been telling. On days when open play sputters, it's the delivery from corners and free kicks that has dragged them back into games. The irony is that for years, United equated possession with dominance. But football's evolving, and so is this team. Sometimes playing direct doesn't mean giving up control. It creates it. By pushing the game higher up the pitch, Amorim has calmed the chaos that once haunted his defenders and given his players and his fans something far more valuable than numbers on a stat sheet: belief.
Of course, there's still a long road ahead. Consistency remains the final hurdle. Yet, since the start of this campaign, the signs have been impossible to ignore. The win at Anfield wasn't a fluke. It was the spark of something cohesive, something that finally feels sustainable. The movement, the transitions, the understanding, it's all starting to click.
Rúben Amorim once promised that the good days are coming, and for the first time in a long while, you can actually see them forming on the horizon, not in words, but in performances. I want to tell you, he said, the good days are coming. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like and subscribe.